It's time for dinner.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
From the creative mind of Scott Bertelson, after 4 decades of teaching our impressionable youth,
The dinner bell.
you are invited to enjoy conversational morsels for the mind at Mr. B's dinner party.
Yeah, dinner.
Hello, hello, hello. Guess what, my happy friends? This is the start of my 4th year, and they said it couldn't be done.
Mr. B's got a table so wide. Pull up a chair, let your worries slide. School days, tales, and a movie or two. He's serving up wisdom with a side of stew. Belly up to the table, my friend. The feast of thought will never end. From travels far to a spiritual climb. Morsels of musing served in rhyme.
Yes, I have done this for 4 years. I am so very grateful to my producer, Troy Thompson, who encouraged me to do this. This has been so therapeutic for me and so enjoyable for me that I think I'll just continue going. I, once again, hope that I bring some kind of enjoyment to you as I talk about what some people might consider frivolous topics, in my estimation anyway. So, welcome to the 4th anniversary special. And they said it couldn't be done.
For the next course, come one, come all. Nothing spoiled here. From comfort classics to what's hot now. Film reviews from Mr. B's Rewatchables.
Folks, I've told you many times that there are few times that I go into a movie theater. I enjoy the comfort. I enjoy seeing a film on the big screen, but I just, as I've said before, I just find so many films today not really that interesting, and I can maybe just watch them on a small screen. But that's not the case for this film I'm going to talk about today. This film, at the time of this recording, this past weekend, made buco butts at the box office, as it should. And I am talking about the 2026 film, The Odyssey. This is the epic action fantasy film written and directed by now one of my favorite directors, Christopher Nolan. And it's an adaptation of Homer's ancient Greek epic poem known as The Odyssey. And Christopher Nolan directed and wrote the script for this. You might recall that Christopher Nolan won a number of Academy Awards and other awards for Oppenheimer, a film which came out a couple years ago about the man who created the nuclear bomb and the aftermath because of that. And that was a tremendous film. And he's done many others. I think this is his 13th or 14th film. He did the Batman trilogy, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight Rises, with Christian Bale as Batman. And he, to me, is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This was a 3-hour film. Now, to tell people that they're going into a 3-hour film, that might be a reason not to go, because they just don't know if they can sit there that amount of time. I was riveted by what was happening in this movie. I never, ever had a moment of being bored. I was completely entranced by what was happening on the screen with this very epic story. I predict that this film is probably going to win many Academy Awards and other awards during the awards season, which will be taking place at the start of 2027. And I think it's going to be one of the highest grossing films of all time. I think it's going to be his most watched movie of all the films that he's done. And I haven't seen all of his films, but I've seen 3 or 4. And this one was absolutely amazing. I would like to mention a little bit of the story. Odysseus is the king of Ithaca, and he goes on a perilous journey to return home after the Trojan War, where they bring that big horse into the city, which is spectacularly done in this film. I mean, the sets in this show are off the charts. Oh my gosh. Anyway, very little, if no CGI was used. And that, I think, just made it spectacular. Not that CGI is okay. If it's done correctly and it's believable, that's fine. So he's crossing the Mediterranean Sea with his fellow soldiers, but along the way, they find themselves battling not only the elements, the weather, but an array of deadly obstacles and mythical creatures that they are running into. So that's a very brief overview of the story, very brief. And this film also has a cavalcade of great actors playing small, big roles. Matt Damon is Odysseus, and I thought he was brilliant in this role. I think this is his best acting I've ever seen him do. I've always enjoyed Matt Damon all the way from the first film of Good Will Hunting, The Talented Mr. Ripley, so many other films that he did. Tom Holland, a whole new appreciation for Tom Holland. He's the one who stars in the present Spider-Man films. And he plays Odysseus' son, and he is amazing in this role. Anne Hathaway, oh my gosh. Anne Hathaway, who's in The Devil Wears Prada 1 and 2, lots of other films, Les Miserables. I think this is her best role to date. She plays Penelope, Odysseus' wife, and the struggle she has when he's gone for so many years, wondering if he's going to come back to her, and all the trouble that is happening in the kingdom while Odysseus is gone. Robert Pattinson is the evil one in this, and I've also developed a great appreciation for Robert Pattinson. He was very, very good in this. Zendaya played Athena, I believe, and she has been in Euphoria, and she's going to be in the new Spider-Man movie, and she's very, very good. And a great, beautiful actress, Charlize Theron, is also in this, and she plays somebody who takes care of Odysseus for a number of years before he goes back home. So it has an estimated budget of $250 million. It's one of the most expensive films, and it was the first film ever to be shot entirely on IMAX 70 millimeter film, which you can find IMAX theaters. I don't believe we have any around this area. I think there is one in Rochester, Minnesota, maybe one in Des Moines. According to my information, the film has received widespread acclaim. I have listened to a number of critics on YouTube who just absolutely rave about it. It has grossed, at this point, $328 million, and it's just going to keep increasing. So let me tell you a little bit more about the story. As Odysseus departs Ithaca, Odysseus and the Greeks spend 10 years besieging Troy. They want to overcome Troy. So Odysseus masterminds a plan to hide inside a large wooden horse to sneak into Troy. So the Greeks open the gate to seek Troy and retrieve Helen. And what happens is, while they have overcome Troy, on their journey back, they're searching for supplies on an island, and they are trapped in a cave by a cyclops who eats some of the soldiers. Eventually, they do blind the cyclops, and only they hear him cry out to his father, who curses the crew with harsh sea conditions. Then they come to an area called Aia, where giants kill most of their party. So along the way home, which takes many years, he's losing more and more of his soldiers, Odysseus. Then Odysseus crosses into Hades, and Odysseus finds out that he's going to be the only one who's going to return home. So his men are killed all along the way home. And when they're setting sail, Poseidon's storm sinks the ship, killing all but Odysseus. Then he washes ashore where a nymph, Calypso, and that's played by Charlize Theron, drugs him with amnesia-inducing lotus flowers. So he doesn't know that he'd been there all those years. He spent 7 years with Calypso. Then he makes it home, and Penelope declares she will marry whoever can string Odysseus' bow and shoot an arrow through a row of axe heads. They all fail, but Odysseus, who's been in secret attire, succeeds and reveals his identity. Then we have this huge battle scene where Odysseus slays the challenging suitors. And then Odysseus kills Antinous. I'm probably not saying that correctly, and that's played by Robert Pattinson. And Odysseus gives his throne to his son and leaves Ithaca with Penelope to seek peace in exile, sailing west to honor his dead soldiers. And the pair expect civilization's renewal, and hopefully time will forget Odysseus' mistakes. Now, is it a rather detailed story? Yes. Does it have names that are hard to remember? Yes. Is it visually stunning? Yes. 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 You owe it to yourself to see the Odyssey on the big screen. The sound is magnificent. The visuals, the ship on the ocean, it is amazing. The Cyclops, the way they just show the Cyclops, which is all done with puppetry, and it was actually a regular guy who played the Cyclops. No CGI involved. The giants that they battle, no CGI involved. But it is so believable. So I've given you the cast, I've given you a little bit of the story, and you must set aside 3 hours sometime within the next few weeks while it's in the theaters and experience. That would be the key word I would use. Experience the beauty, the awesomeness of Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey, which is interpreted by the brilliant director, Christopher Nolan. So take that journey. See this film. All the hype is true. Believe me, it is a masterpiece.
Sit still. I said, I can't. Something's tickling me. She thought I was crazy. She said, well, open your coat. I unbuttoned my coat and opened it up. There was a mouse.
Stories. Everybody has them. The stories of our parents, grandparents, and our friends remind us who they are.
That's kind of what I think it is too, is memories. Growing up, my dad was a English teacher.
How they got here and what they've learned on the way. What if you could collect as many of your loved ones' stories in a high-quality audio format to keep forever? What if you could share the sound of your loved one's voice, their laughter, and their thoughtful manner with your children? Or when you are simply driving to work?
He spent literally 3 months in North Dakota freezing buckets of ice water to make this awesome ice fort that we never spent time in, but it was amazing for the moment it was done.
Well, you can with a Sunny Side of Life biography. Produced here at Sunnyside Farm Studios. I'll sit down with your loved one for 1, 2, or several sessions to record their stories.
I think my students are going to have good memories of me.
You'll receive the full raw recording, an edited selection arranged in audio chapters for easy reference, and produced segments you can use for family gatherings, special moments, or any time you just want to hear your loved one's voice.
And those are probably my most cherished things.
Share it with your family and make it a keepsake, because that's what stories are, keepsakes of the time we had together.
Never forget that. I was petrified of mice after that forever.
Email your query for more information to Troy at sunnysidefarmstudios.com. The email is also in this show's notes. Let me record your loved one's story so you can share the sunny side of their life in their own words for years to come.
I actually do kind of remember that now.
Folks, I'm going to focus on a movie that I've seen many, many times. I know many of the lines. I'm going to share some of those famous lines with you, as I did with Devil Wears Prada and from some other films. Classic, memorable quotes, I guess I could call it. And I want to talk about the filmography of one of my favorite film stars and comedians who unfortunately died because of suicide. And I am talking about the talented, wonderful Robin Williams. And maybe sometime later in my podcast agendas, I might talk about more of his movies. We'll see which way the spirit moves me. But I'm going to talk about what I think are the top 10, in my mind, films of Robin Williams. To preface that, I would like to say that I have seen his comedy specials. I have seen his guest spots on late night shows. He's absolutely brilliant, creative. He was one of a kind. I know it's a cliche, but it surely fits with Robin Williams. And not only was he a talented comic, but a superb movie actor. And he portrayed so many different characters during his time as a box office king. And I would have to tell you that I personally, most of the time, preferred his dark portrayals of him. For example, in being the killer in the Al Pacino film Insomnia. He was brilliant in that. The demented clerk who works in a drugstore in 1 Hour Photo. That was brilliant. Not necessarily part of my top 10, but I might do more of his movies. But I am going to focus on one special film when I am done with this. All right, so in 1977, not necessarily in any order, he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Good Will Hunting, which is one of my favorite films with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. And he won, again, for his heartbreaking, brilliant performance as a therapist who helps a troubled youth. And it's just mesmerizing, his performance in this. If you've never had a chance to see Good Will Hunting, you need to do that. Here comes one of my favorites, Dead Poets Society, 1989. He plays an English teacher. That could be part of the reason why I like it. John Keating, who urges his students at this male school to not give in to what society says, but be your own self and seize the day and be your own person. I mean, the message is overpowering and it's wonderful. And the scene where they're up on the desk, quoting, "Oh Captain, oh Captain." It's wonderful. I mean, it's a dark, dark story, but it has so much redeeming strength that I think is expressed at the end. One of the films that really highlighted his improv was Good Morning Vietnam, which came out in 1987. And he was in this film a very unorthodox military radio DJ, Adrian Cronaner. Am I saying that correctly? And serious, but yet very, very funny. Good Morning Vietnam. The next one, as I'm going to elaborate on a little bit later here, is Mrs. Doubtfire. Oh no, Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, a masterpiece, absolutely to me, a masterpiece of comedy and drama and significant themes. Wonderful acting. I mean, all his strengths are highlighted in this film. He plays a divorced dad who disguises himself as a female housekeeper to see his children. Okay, yeah, a little far-fetched. I'll give you that. But it is brilliant and so many funny lines. That would probably be my number one film of Robin Williams. Also, for animation, Aladdin. He was brilliant in the animated Aladdin in 1992. And he played the energetic genie in that. Never Had a Friend Like Me. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Perfect choice to play the genie. Another one of my favorites would have to be The Birdcage, which came out in 1996, where Robin Williams played against the type he normally is cast as. He was not cast as a gay man in this relationship. He was portrayed as he was gay in the film, portrayed a gay man, but the serious gay man. He played Armand Goldman. He's a nightclub owner who is forced to masquerade as a straight man to impress conservative in-laws. And the story really involves him and Nathan Lane, who plays his partner. Absolutely a brilliant combo. And how this whole plan to try to impress his son's, Robin Williams' son's straight in-laws is just hilarious. It's based on the French farce La Cage aux Folles, and that was also made into a brilliant stage musical called La Cage aux Folles, and highly recommend you see that. Next one would be The Fisher King. This came out in 1991. It's a very dark comedy, and Williams plays Perry, a very delusional homeless man searching for the Holy Grail. Well, aren't we all? Anyway, no. But it's really, really, really good. So I recommend that. I have three more. Awakenings from 1990. Now, this is based on a true story. It's a very deep, moving drama. Williams plays a neurologist who helps catatonic patients, and one of them is Robert De Niro, who's brilliant also in this film. And he finds some kind of serum that brings catatonic people back to life. I mean, they're alive, but animated. And unfortunately, it only lasts so long. And that's the tragic part. And it's never rectified as to how they could still stay animated. And it's so moving, so wonderful. One I hadn't thought about, but I do think it's really good, is Hook, 1991. And this was directed by, again, one of my favorite directors, along with many others, Steven Spielberg, where Williams plays an adult Peter Pan who must go back to Neverland to save his children from Captain Hook, portrayed by Dustin Hoffman. And I believe Wendy was portrayed by Julia Roberts. So it's really funny. It's sad at the same time. It brings back all those happy memories of Peter Pan, and it shows the evolution of Peter Pan from a child to an adult. It's great. And my last one for today, and maybe there'll be more to come, because you might be saying, oh, there's so many more of his films. Yes, I get that, but we've got to keep this under 3 hours. So, as Whoopi Goldberg always says on The View, we only have an hour. I can only grab your attention out there for so long, huh, folks? Huh? The one I'm talking about is something I mentioned before, 1 Hour Photo, which came out in 2002. And this, I think, is one of his greatest portrayals of a dramatic nature. Plays a very creepy, strange man who's a photo developer who becomes attached after developing the pictures of a family, and how he wants to be affiliated with the family and be loved by the family. And it's dark. It's really, really dark. But if you're looking for something like that, I highly recommend it. So again, Robin Williams, if you're ever streaming, watching cable, on YouTube, whatever it is, please, please, please treat yourself to a Robin Williams film. Will undoubtedly, as I said, always be recognized as one of the greatest comics of all time and greatest actors of all time. I really sincerely mean that. His range was unbelievable. So, as he used to say on the TV show where it all started, Mork and Minnie, Nanu, Nanu.
It's third down, Warrior fan. Make some noise.
Hi, I'm Andy Buffington.
And I'm Troy Thompson.
Join us every Friday for a new episode of the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast.
Turnover on downs. Warrior Ball. Find us on every podcast platform and get to know our Warriors. Interception! Warriors, intercept the ball.
Meet the coaches.
Join the club.
Listen.
Laugh.
And love the woo.
And that's another Warrior first down. It's the best small college football experience in America.
Every Friday, here
on the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast. Touchdown, Warriors!
Happy TV viewers. I've talked about a plethora. There's the word. I know, get off the plethora kick. Anyway, of classic TV shows, comedies, dramas, all the way up to the present. There's one that hit me the other day that, why haven't I been talking about it? Duh. My goodness, Scott. I can catch myself, if I allow this, to sit and watch a marathon of this series during the day when I should be doing something constructive. And instead, I just sit in my chair and I watch these compelling stories. You know what I'm talking about. Law Order Special Victims Unit, or Law Order SVU. It's a TV series that was created by Dick Wolf for NBC, and it's still on television. It originally starred Christopher Maloney as Detective Elliot Stabler and Mariska Hargitay as detectives. Now, she's now been promoted to captain. She's still on the show. Christopher is not. I will say I do prefer the early episodes of those two paired together. The chemistry between them was wonderful. And it's always been rumored in the series that later on we find out that I believe his wife has been killed, and maybe he'll get back together with the Mariska character, but it never seems to happen. But we'd like them to, because they had more of a feeling between them than just being SVU partners. That's the way I felt anyway. Anyway, that's the soap opera talk there. So it basically follows the story of these two SVU characters, detectives, who investigate and prosecute sex-based crimes. Some of the episodes are loosely based on real crimes that have received actual media attention. The series has received 108 award nominations, winning 59. Harite, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name, was the first and only regular cast member on any Law Order series to win an Emmy when she won the Primetime Emmy Award in 2006. It has become the longest-running primetime live-action series on American television. And this was after the premiere of its 21st season. Imagine it, folks. 21 seasons, starting in September of 2019. It is the only live-action primetime series that debuted in the 90s to remain in continuous production. It has aired 594 original episodes. 594. Surpassing the episode count of the original Law & Order series. It ranks with coming in third behind The Simpsons and Gunsmoke. And the series will be back again the fall of 2026. So, now the series has had at least 28 or 29 seasons. So, it is based out of the New York City Police Department's 16th precinct in Manhattan, and it looks at the dark side of the New York underworld as the detectives of an elite squad. They investigate, prosecute sexually oriented crimes such as rape, child sexual abuse, human trafficking, and domestic violence. They also investigate abuses of children, disabled, elderly victims, trying to balance the effect of the investigation on their own lives so they don't let the dark side of these crimes affect them. So the people who are the detectives, led by Mariska, deal with some very, very dark subjects. This is not necessarily a show for young children. That's my viewpoint of the show. It is done tastefully. There's nothing vulgar about it, but some of the topics are much more adult-oriented, as you can probably guess. It also deals with gender identity, sexual preferences, and equality. Now, most of the time, the stories begin with somebody being murdered, and then they investigate how this person was murdered and how was it sexually provoked, and then they take it to trial. You get to see the trial. And the series often does use stories that are ripped from the headlines, and then they fictionalize it. So, with that being said, over the years, there have been a number of people who have been detectives on the show, and that has been rotating ever since. One of my favorites was the FBI Special Agent Dr. George Wong, who helps the officers sane in a field that could drive ordinary people mad, serving as the squad's criminal profiler, trying to figure out why and how the perpetrator committed the crime. Also, one of my favorites was the medical examiner, who's no longer on there, Dr. Melinda Warner, and that was Tamara Tooney, who then would do an autopsy of the bodies and talk about what she found that could be used as evidence. There's been many guest stars on the show over the years. Christine Latte, Sharon Stone, just to name a couple. And the reason that I keep coming back to this show is that I'm almost 100% surprised by the ending. As the cliche goes, I didn't see it coming. And the person that I had pegged as the perpetrator or the criminal is not. And they strategically present all the evidence, and sometimes the person is taken to trial, and sometimes they're found guilty, and sometimes they're not, even though they are. Because the evidence wasn't there or it wasn't presented well. So you get that taste of the courtroom in the show. So you have the crime, you have the investigation, you have the arrests, and then you have the trial, all in one show. You also deal with the personal lives of many of these SVU people occasionally, and the troubles that they endure, not necessarily related to their profession, but to give you an idea of how it's difficult to handle doing something of this sensitive nature and function in a life outside of the criminal justice system. There are too many stories to talk about, and I'm amazed how every season they still can find something innovative and different that's never been talked about before. And it's just the best hour of drama, I think, on television today, and has been for many, many years. I really recommend, if you like something that's adult in nature, that's compelling, that's intriguing, that keeps you guessing all the time as to whether this person is guilty or this person is innocent or what's going on here, please watch Law Order SVU. I believe it's on normally Thursday nights on NBC. And you can find it on USA Network. They run marathons of that all the time, and other cable stations too. So it's very popular. And even if I've seen an episode, sometimes I will sit and rewatch it and see if I can figure out something about the show that I hadn't seen before. But it keeps me on the edge all the time until the very end of that show. So, Law and Order SVU, something for the adults. Longest running drama of all time. Still on, needs to stay on for years to come.
And now, School Days with Mr. B.
Folks, for my reflections on the classroom, I talked about so many different things, and I so much look forward to subbing again this year. I thought maybe it would be fun to share some poetry about teaching, some poetry that you might enjoy. So I'm going to interpret 3 or 4 poems for you today. The first one is called To David. about his education. The world is full of mostly invisible things, and there's no way but putting the mind's eye on it or its nose in a book to find them out. Things like the square root of Everest, or how many times Byron goes into Texas, or whether the law of the excluded middle applies west of the Rockies. For those and the like reasons, you have to go to school and study books and listen to what you were told, and sometimes try to remember. Though I don't know what you will do with the mean annual rainfall on Plato's Republic, or the calorie content of a diet of worms, such things are said to be good for you. And you will have to learn them in order to become one of the grown-ups who sees invisible things neither steadily nor whole, but keeps gravely the grand confusion of the world under his hat, which is where it belongs, and teaches small children to do this in their turn. I really like that poem because at the time you might wonder why you need to learn this fact or this statistic, but the bigger picture is that you have an interest, that you're inquisitive, that you want to find out what's happening in the world around you all the time. And if a school can do that for you, then I believe that school has been very, very successful. Here's one called Theme for English B by Langston Hughes. The instructor said, "Go home and write a page tonight and let that page come out of you. Then it will be true." I wonder if it's that simple. I am 22, colored, born in Winston-Salem. I went to school there, then Durham, then here to this college on the hill above Harlem. I'm the only colored student in my class. The steps from the hill lead down into Harlem through a park. Then I cross St. Nicholas, 8th Avenue, 7th, and I come to the Y, the Harlem Branch Y, where I take the elevator up to my room, I sit down, and I write this page. It's not easy to know what is true for you or me at 22, my age, but I guess I'm what I feel and see and hear, Harlem. I hear you, hear me, we two, you, me, talk on this page. I hear New York too. Me? Who? Well, I like to eat, sleep, drink, and be in love. I like to work, read, learn, and understand life. I like a pipe for a Christmas present or records, Bessie, Bop, or Bach. I guess being colored doesn't make me look like the same thing other folks like who are other races. So will my page be colored that I write? Being me, it will not be white, but it will be a part of you, the instructor. You are white, yet a part of me is I'm a part of you. That's American. Sometimes perhaps you don't want to be a part of me, nor do I often want to be a part of you, but we are. That's true. As I learn from you, I guess you learn from me, although you're older and white and somewhat more free. This is my page for English B. The story of a young black man and how he feels like he's been appreciated in his classroom, or how he doesn't feel like he was appreciated. Here's my third one, the school where I studied. I passed by the school where I studied as a boy and said in my heart, here I learned certain things and didn't learn others. All my life I have loved in vain the things I didn't learn. I am filled with knowledge. I know all about the flowering of the tree of knowledge, the shape of its leaves, the function of its root system, its pests and parasites. I'm an expert on the botany of good and evil. I'm still studying it. I'll go on studying till the day I die. I stood near the school building and looked in. This is the room where we sat and learned. The windows of a classroom always open in the future, but in our innocence we thought it was only landscape we were seeing from the window. The schoolyard was narrow, paved with large stones. I remember the brief tumult of the two of us near the rickety steps, a tumult that was the beginning of a first great love. Now it outlives us, as if it was a museum, like everything else in Jerusalem. Again, going back for class reunions and taking a tour of your elementary or middle school or high school, what memories it brings back, positive, negative. The halls where you congregated. Now, this is me. This is not the poem. Where you congregated with your friends on a daily basis and the things that you learn from each other. And yes, once again, this poem reiterates that there are specific things that you learn in science and biology and math and English. But as the poem says, the windows of a classroom always open to the future. But in our innocence, we thought it was only landscape we were seeing from the window. It was way more than that. The school building should be revered for helping you see the joy of learning. So, those are my 3 poems dealing with teaching, reflecting on education that I want to present today. And once again, teaching is one of the greatest professions, I think, that you can aspire to, and no price tag can ever be put on what impact that you have on young people.
Don't you forget this.
Let's have a seat round the proverbial table.
Would you like to say grace?
With a nod to our higher power and Mr. B's spiritual journey.
My happy podcast listeners, I am going to talk about the 12 steps again today. And I've taken a reprieve, my last episode, but I'm going to talk more about step 9 of the 12 steps. Once again, for those of you just joining my program, I am an overeater. I don't know whether I was born this way or not, but I have to have a daily reprieve from my overeating binges by turning my life over to my higher power. And I use prayer, sometimes meditation, sometimes journaling, reading, texting people, talking to my sponsees, attending meetings, just to make sure that I can not eat what I call my red light foods. And I'm coming up on 8 years now that I have been, I guess I could use the term sober from foods that trigger my allergy, because I do believe I have an allergy. Just like an alcoholic or a sex addict or a gambler or a drug user. I'm using food to cover up what's really going on inside of me. And so once I find out what it is that is causing me to want to eat a box of crackers, then my desire to eat those crackers is gone. So with step 9, if I've missed any, I apologize, is to make direct demands to people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. And I've talked about how I have made amends. I've had to do that. That was part of my inventory. And it is very important that you talk to a sponsor or another person who understands the 12-step way of life. And talk to somebody who has gone through the program. And if you do this, if you make amends, you will establish better relationships with people your life has touched. In some cases, it will require you to do more than just say, I'm sorry. You might have to specify the harm you've done, apologize, make appropriate restitution, and maybe you're going to have to change your behavior in the future. Okay, but remember, and I think I've said this before you make an amends, you know or have to know, you have no idea how the other person will receive it. It might be positive, it might be negative. I've had it happen both ways. But you cannot believe that your person you are apologizing to is any less than you are. They have a right to respond the way they do. You are simply doing what you need to do. You are taking care of, as I've said, your side of the street. Your only job is to clear off the side of the street by doing whatever you can to right your wrongs. Now, when you are clearing off your side of the street, you should be sincere and direct in your approach to the people that you hurt. We owe those victims of our wrong actions an honest and straightforward acknowledgement of our mistakes. We all make mistakes. There's no question about that. But if we have hurt somebody physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, choose whatever adverb you want, we need to make amends for it. Not only for them, but for ourselves, in order to keep ourselves clean. At the same time, we would usually do well to keep the wording of our apologies as simple as possible, in order to avoid dragging in fact and details which might hurt people all over again. We should always avoid mention of things that may have done to provoke us, even if we feel those things are much worse than our own mistakes. We have forgiven those people in step 8. We just now had to stick to the simply worded statement of the things we did to cause that person harm, and to express sincere, may I underscore that, sincere regret. Don't dramatize it, don't rehash it, simply apologize. You might say something like, Mrs. Jones, I stole money from your drawer several times when I was working for you last summer. I'm very sorry for my dishonesty. Or, John, I realize I made a habit of belittling you and I want to apologize. It was wrong of me to treat you that way. And I can't begin to tell you how wonderful you will feel when you say those words to another person. The guilt, humiliation will be lifted from you, and that won't have to be used as a trigger to want to overeat. If you're going to amend something, it means that you need to change it. We owe people living amends. The words we say to them will not be nearly so important as how we act towards them from now on. Were we to apologize from then go right on hurting them, our words would be empty indeed, and a real improvement in our damaged relationships would be unlikely. Only by permanently changing our harmful attitudes and actions, permanently, we make it up to ourselves and our loved ones for the hurts of the past. So, there are actions we take to make direct amends. What we have to do is try to meet them face to face. If we can't, we can do it on the telephone. Those are the two methods that are most usable and suggested. If the person on our list has died, you can still make amends indirectly. We can write down the words we would say to them if they were alive. Then we might read the letter out loud to some place that reminds us of them. The part of our amends might be made by a gift to their favorite charity, or by given to a member of their family, or whatever appropriate manner you may choose. Appropriateness should be our guide each time we make amends, whether we make them directly or indirectly. But sometimes we cannot make amends because we feel it would directly harm another person. For instance, to go to the spouse of someone with whom we had an affair and confess could be very harmful, unless we're sure this person already knows about the affair. It would also help us to remember that we make direct amends for our actions rather than for our feelings. Okay, very important. We're making amends for our actions, not our feelings. To go to someone and say, I'm sorry I've disliked you all these years is inappropriate and will probably only inflict pain. The best way to make up for 5 years of secret jealousy is to replace it with 5 years of open acceptance, respect, and love. Now, finally, before we end with step 9, some amends maybe can be made anonymously to avoid hurting innocent people. However, we don't make our amends anonymously simple to avoid embarrassment to ourselves. Were we to skip doing some of our amends, we would deprive ourselves of the full healing that comes when we work the 9th step thoroughly. So, now that we have completed the first 9 steps, now we can face the future with new confidence. We do not have to have that crutch of excess food. We have discovered a way of life which nourishes us physically, emotionally, spiritually. Our challenge from here on will be to follow this path as we are guided by the last 3 steps of our 12-step program. And so we will be getting into step 10, step 11, and step 12. But if you are thinking about making amends, the basic theme is you're doing it to cleanse your soul, and don't do it because you expect to get a certain kind of response from that person. You have no control over that. You are doing it to clean your side of the street. If I've used that expression too much, I apologize. But you have done that to help keep you clean. Because food, excess food, for me, is something that my sick brain will focus on when I'm harboring a resentment or I'm jealous. I know. I've lived with myself for 67 years. I know. So I have to make amends. Do it for yourself. There you have it, folks. Mr. B has shared a number of things with you today, and how glad I was that I could spend some time with you. Go out to the theater and see the Odyssey. Then when you get home, you need to watch a Robin Williams movie, or most importantly, watch one of the most dramatic, moving TV series of all time, Law Order SVU, and then at the same time, write some poetry about teaching. Can you do that? Is that asking too much? And I will see you the next time we get together. And I hope you have a ravenous appetite for delicious morsels of the mind. Ta-da!
Television dramas and comedic reviews, pet peeves buzzing like honeydew blues, poetry sprinkled like salt on a dish, every word served with a twist and a swish. Belly up to the table, my friend. The feast of thought will never end, from travels far to a spiritual climb. Morsels of musing served in rhyme.
Mr. B's Dinner Party is hosted by Scott Bertelson, edited and produced by Troy Thompson, recorded and distributed at Sunnyside Farm Studios, and platformed by Buzzsprout.
Conversations flowing like fine red wine, world journeys mapped with tales divine. He's hosting a dinner for your hungry mind, a banquet of life where you can unwind. Belly up to the table, my friend. The feast of thought will never end, from travels far to a spiritual climb. Morsels of musings served in rhyme.
Subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share with your friends. Listen and enjoy every other Wednesday. Conversational morsels for the mind on Mr. B's Dinner Party.